mean, when I'm right, I'm right, It's a little pat on my back, No, I'm not happy about it. It's just like, this is my first rodeo, people. I've been doing this for 15 years. I've been covering the far left in the Pacific Northwest for 15 years. We know their tactics. And frankly, they talk about what they're going to do before they do it. This segment is brought to you by Eastside Weight Loss Clinic. Sick of fad diets that work for a couple months and then you gain all the weight back? Well, I'm down 37 pounds on the Eastside Weight Loss Clinic program, and I've kept that weight off for more than a year. Schedule your free 15-minute consultation today at eastsideweightlossclinic.com. So I had said that as soon as I saw the ballot drop box on fire in Vancouver, Washington, I said far left terrorism. And maybe it was a jump to conclusion based on 15 years of knowing these people and their tactics very well. And there was this pile on Brandi. This is irresponsible and all this, which fine, maybe it is irresponsible. But in the heat of the moment, I tweeted it out anyway, and I knew I was right, and I was right. So the New York Times was the first to report this yesterday, saying that the devices that were dropped into the ballot drop box in Vancouver and in Portland were emblazoned with the message, "Free Gaza." Gee. Yeah, I mean, when you're right, you're right. I'll step off my high horse for a second. But it was just, people were so triggered in Seattle, like, how dare you? You know this is probably MAGA, and this is a blue area with blue voters and stuff. No, it doesn't matter. I mean, these people have put out posters, basically, like a couple years ago, they put out a poster with a ballot drop box on fire. Antifa did. It was like, their whole thing is like, oh, no peace, no nothing, no normalcy unless we get what we want. So they don't care if it's a blue ballot or a red ballot. So from the New York Times, police, this is funny though, from the Times, police say they had not determined a motive for the arson fires in Portland, Oregon, or Vancouver, Washington, but the messages have heightened the sensitivity of the investigation. Yeah, chances are that Free Gaza is the motive. And I'm sure the left is going to say, well, this could have been MAGA, dumping them in there and blaming. No, you think they would have written Free Gaza? No, they probably would have written like, yay Donald Trump or F Donald Trump or something to like F Donald Trump to like mix it up. I mean, Free Gaza. It's the Free Gaza people. In fact, somebody was sharing a bulletin where it was like about, no one votes until Gaza's free or something like that. So let's get a life. I knew this was the case. It said investigators responding to arson fires at 2 ballot boxes in the Pacific Northwest this week found devices at both scenes marked with the words Free Gaza, according to 2 law enforcement officials. Investigators are trying to determine if the perpetrator was actually a pro-Palestinian activist or someone using that prominent cause to sow discord, one of the officials said, speaking on the condition of anonymity because the investigation was ongoing. But the message has added a heightened layer of political sensitivity to a closely watched investigation in the final days of a tense presidential election. Well, there was already, when somebody lights a ballot drop box on fire, there's always going to be a heightened layer of political sensitivity, regardless of what their motive is. And had I been wrong, had it been a MAGA type person, yeah, I would have come on the show and been like, well, my bad, that was a really irresponsible tweet. And maybe it was still an irresponsible tweet before we knew. I just felt very confident, and I was right, and I am going to be right. This isn't some right-winger pretending Free Gaza. That's not the message they would put on there. Get a grip. But one other thing I was right about, I hate to say it. No, I don't. So I put this out. The tweet I had put out right after the video came out said, this is far left terrorism. This is what it looks like when you let Antifa run wild in the Pacific Northwest for 10 years and act like they don't exist. This is what we're voting against. And then I followed that up and said, if this does turn out to be a Democrat, Seattle media will bury it in 24 hours. If it's a Republican, it'll lead the newscast every day until Election Day, which I think is just true. And Jim Brunner, who's a reporter, political reporter at the Times, had responded to me and said, I don't know, maybe wait for more facts. All right, so now we have some information. The fact is that these incendiary devices said Free Gaza on them. So I imagine that, since the Times was just waiting for facts to report on, that this would be like front page on the Seattle Times right now. No, the front page on the Seattle Times right now is a big fat picture of big old meatballs, and it's about 2 buzzy new Seattle Italian restaurants. Nowhere on the front page when I checked about an hour ago was there any mention of this update or the story in general that's unfolding with the 2 ballot drop boxes. Nothing about the Free Gaza or anything like that. And do you think for 1 second, if those incendiary devices had said like MAGA, or like something like that, that if they had pointed to a right-wing culprit, that wouldn't be the picture on the front page of the Times instead of a plate of spaghetti and meatballs? Talking about 2 buzzy new Italian restaurants, what a dumb story days out from an election. You have nothing else to have on the front page of the Seattle Times than a story about 2 buzzy new Italian restaurants? Give me a break. Yeah, this would be 100%. They would not wait for their own sources to confirm. They would quote the New York Times, and they'd say the New York Times is reporting based on 2 law enforcement sources that these were, had MAGA messaging or something on them, and it's suspected to be right-wing extremists. Not a question in my mind. I don't care how many people tell me I'm wrong on social media. I absolutely know that I'm right on this one. It would be the lead on every newscast. It would be front page on every newspaper across the state. And that's just the truth of the situation that we're in. But it's free Gaza, so we'll just ignore that. Or we're waiting for ample evidence that it's not some right-wingers pretending to be pro-Palestine to sow discord. Give me a break.